what you're learning has been hidden from us for thousands of years. Now through the Spirit of the Lord, which he had to die on the cross for us to get this knowledge. If you knew the significance of why he went on that cross, man, you'd never look at that the same again. He had to die for us to get this knowledge. That's right. From his Father.
And that's how the Lord is gathering his elect, by the word being out and preached out here. And then the ones like yourself, you know, you heard the word. So if you're part of the elect, the Lord, now with the word that you receive, now you'll be sealed.
Wisdom,
you know, so we're calling out with the word of the Lord, and the Lord is the one doing the sealing. Those people obviously weren't part of the elect because they were scoffing. So it's like the word went like this, you know, just kept bouncing off their ears. That's why they came up the way they did, and then they left. You know, but you're still here listening. You know.
Itself says study to show that self-approved. You got to study the Bible, but you got to study other books. When I say other books, I mean like the documents, the records, history.
It becomes a way of life.
It becomes a way of life.
Hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Shalawam, Shalawam. First off, giving all glory, honor, and praises to YAHAWAH, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, QADASH. Double honors to the apostle and the elders of Great Millstone who will well and teach well. And I say Shalawam to the hopeful elect and the Akim out there pushing this word and the truth into sincerity. Alright, we back at you with another lesson. We back at you with the part 2 of the vital truth of the virgin birth. Alright, if you don't know, if you hadn't had a chance to get into that part 1, alright, that part 1 went into defining the word virgin according to the scripture as it relates to this prophecy. And this prophecy is the birth of YAHAWASHI. Alright, so without further ado, we're going to get into our opening scripture, and then we're going to build off that, and then we're going to let the Spirit move. Alright, so that first scripture we're going to get into is 2 Samuel chapter 7, and we're going to scroll down to verse 8. Alright, well, the point is in verse 12 and 13. However, we're going to scroll up to 8 because this here is getting into Yahweh's covenant with David, his promise to King David. Alright, so we're going to start up at verse 8. Alright, this is 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 8. It says, "Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of great men that are in the earth." So we know that King David fought a lot of wars, and he won all those wars as well. Alright, Yahweh was with him everywhere he went. Yahweh cut off all the enemies of all those wars. We know that. Alright, let's read on. "Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own, and will move no more, neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time. And as since the time I have commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies, also saith Yahweh, tell it thee that he will make thee an house." Alright, so what he's telling King David now, you've done all these things. Alright, basically I'm gonna set up you a house. Alright, so what he's saying, Salakia, what he's saying to King David, you've done all these things, and basically through your after you, basically I'm gonna set up a house. All right, and this is the point here in verses 12 and 13. He says, "And when thy days be fulfilled, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and I will set up thee, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom, and he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." Alright, so what he's telling King David here in 12 and 13 is that when you died and when you rest with your ancestors, alright, I will set up thy seed after thee. He's gonna set up offspring. He's gonna give David offspring through his lineage, alright, through his household, through his bowels, alright, and he's gonna establish that kingdom, and he will build a house for Yahweh's name, and he will establish the kingdom. It will establish his kingdom forever, and he who we talking about here, that seed, that's YAHAWASHI. Alright? We know that that seed is YAHAWASHI. And YAHAWASHI, it will establish that throne, and his kingdom gonna reign forever. Alright? I want to get that for you in the NLT. 2 Samuel chapter 7. We're going to start at verse 8 again. And we're going to go down to 13. Alright? Alright, it says, now then tell my servant David, Slaka, this is 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 8 through 13 in the NLT. It says, now then tell my servant David, this is what Yahweh Almighty says. I took you from the pasture, from tending the flock, and appointed you ruler over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone. I have cut off all your enemies before you. Now I will make your name great, like the names of the greatest men on earth. I will provide a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them so that they can have a home of their own and no longer be disturbed. Wicked people will not oppress them anymore as they did at the beginning, and have done ever since the time I appointed leaders over my people Israel. I will also give you rest from all your enemies. Yahweh declares to you that Yahweh himself will establish a house for you. Alright, and here's the point. When your days are over and you rest with your ancestors, mean after he passes away and after he dies, he will raise up your offspring to succeed you for your own I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, your own flesh and blood, and I will establish his kingdom. And he is the one who will build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Alright, and that offspring that he's talking about, that his own flesh and blood, his kingdom, who's gonna build that house for Yahweh's name, and will establish his kingdom forever, that offspring, that person we're talking about is YAHAWASHI. Alright? That's YAHAWASHI. Next scripture we're gonna get is Matthew chapter 2. And we're gonna go to verse 6. It says, and thou Bethlehem in the land of Judah art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. So we know that basically what it's saying here, that out of YAHAWASHI will be born out of Bethlehem. Alright? And that's what the prophecy is saying. Alright? And because we know that Bethlehem basically is the city of David. Alright? We're gonna connect that. Let's go to the Old Testament. We're gonna go to Micah chapter 5 and verse 2. It says, But thou Bethlehem Ephrathah, though thou be little amongst thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me to be the ruler in Israel, whose going forth have been of the old from everlasting. Alright? So that's connecting that Old Testament and New Testament here with that prophecy. The birth of YAHAWASHI, he basically will be born. He will come out of King David's lineage, and he will come out of King David's lineage, and he will be born in Bethlehem. All right, and he will be the ruler over Israel forever. All right, and just to prove you, that word Bethlehem basically is the city of David. All right, that's where David was born. All right, city of Judah is David's birthplace. All right. The next one we're going to get is Luke. We're going to go to Luke chapter 1. Let's go down to verse 26. And we're going to read. And this is YAHAWASHI's birth being foretold. Alright. This is Luke chapter 1 and verse 6. And we're going to read on down. It says, and in the 6th month. And so let me back brief here for Luke chapter 1. verse 26 through 33, what we're reading here, this is before Mary and Joseph had sex. All right, and the angel is going to come. Let me just read it and then you'll get it. But the point is, this is before Mary and Joseph had sex. All right, it says in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from the Most High until the city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man, meaning that she was promised to marry. It was before they had sex. Alright, she was espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, out of the house of David. So we know that Joseph, from here we know that Joseph was through the lineage of David. He came out of he was of that bloodline of David. Alright, and the virgin's name was Mary. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, though that art highly favored. Yahweh is with thee. Yahweh Shemashah is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salvation this should be. So in her mind, she's trying to figure out what's going on. What's going on here? And verse 30, and the angel said unto her, Fear not. So don't be scared. He says, Mary, for thou hast found favor with the Most High, and behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name YAHAWASHI. Alright? He shall be great. He shall be called Son of the Highest. And Yahweh thy power shall give unto him the throne of his father David. Alright? See that connection? So in that 2 Samuel, Yahweh had promised David that his offspring would build that house and sit on that throne and basically be ruler over Israel forever. Alright? So having that in mind, let me read 32 again. He shall be great. He shall be called the Son of the Highest, and Yahweh thy power shall give him the throne of his father David. So that's David's offspring. Alright? That's who came through that lineage of David. That's what YAHAWASHI. In verse 33, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and his kingdom there shall be no end. Alright? Let's grab the next scripture. We're going to go to Isaiah chapter 9, and we're going to go to verse 6 and 7. Alright? It says, For unto us, this is Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 and 7. It says, For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. The government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Almighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon thy throne of David, and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with justice, to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts will perform this. So that point being that there shall, when YAHAWASHI, who's of the line of David, who's gonna sit on that throne, there ain't gonna be no end. All right, to his rulership. All right, and he's coming through that line of David. The next scripture we're gonna get is John chapter 7, and we're gonna go into verse 42. This is John chapter 7 verse 42. No, Shalawam. We're going to start at verse 40. Alright? This is John chapter 7 and verse 40. It says, Many of the people, therefore, when they heard this saying, said, Of a truth, this is the prophet. Others said, This is Hamashiach. This is Hamashiach. But some said, Shall Hamashiach come out of Galilee? Alright, so they're basically going back and forth here. All right. Some saying that this is the Hamashiach, this is the Messiah. All right. And some is saying, shall he come out of Galilee? Like, you sure this him? All right. And the point here is in verse 42. It says, have not the scripture said that Hamashiach coming out of the seed of David? All right. He's coming out of that line of David and out of the town of Bethlehem where David was. All right. So that's saying that we know that YAHAWASHI is going to he's going to come out of the seed of David through the lineage of David, which we know that Joseph was of the house of David. All right. And he's also got to be born in the town of Bethlehem, which is also called the city of David. All right. And that's where David was born. We know that. All right. So we're going to grab one more. We're going to prove that. We're going to go to Luke chapter 2. We're just going to start at verse 1. All right. This is Luke chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, and when it came to pass in those days, that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And that word tax kind of goes into a census, meaning everybody got to go back. Everybody basically went back to their hometown, their how do I say that? Basically where they were born, where they were of the house of, that's kind of their home. All right. It says, and this taxing was made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria, and all went to be taxed, everyone into his own city. All right, so everybody went back to where they were born, back to their home, back to their lineage. So what do you think Joseph had to go to? Joseph basically went back to the city of Bethlehem, to that city of David. All right, and here it is right here, Luke chapter 2 and verse 4. All right, and Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judah unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and the lineage of David. All right, so we got one part of that checked. So they say that the scripture said that YAHAWASHI had to come through the line or come through the seed of David, and he had to be born in Jerusalem. He had to come out of in Slaki. He had to be born of Bethlehem. Slaki on that. Got a little tongue tied. All right. So let me repeat that. It says that two things. YAHAWASHI had to come through the seed of David, and he had to be born in Bethlehem, which is called the city of David. So we know that Joseph was of the lineage of the line of David. All right, let's hear. Let me read verse 4 again. It says, and Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judah unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and of the lineage of David. All right, so that's one thing checked. Now YAHAWASHI basically just had to be born in Bethlehem. All right, so let's keep reading. This is verse 5. To be taxed with his espoused wife, who was Mary. All right. So we know that this is Mary. This is after, this part here is after him and Mary had sex. So at this point in time, Mary is pregnant. That's why it says to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. All right. So at first, that Luke 1, that Luke chapter 1, 26 to 33, that was before when the angel Gabriel went to Mary. That was before her and Joseph had sex. This is Luke chapter 2 verses 1 through, we're gonna go 1 through 7, and this is after they had sex, because it's saying here that she's being great with child, so she's pregnant. All right, so basically Mary is pregnant now, and they travel to Bethlehem. All right, her and Joseph basically had sex, and they traveling to Bethlehem. All right, verse 6. And it was so that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And the point here is in verse 7. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And what have we all known? That YAHAWASHI was born in a manger. He was born in Bethlehem in the manger. And that proves to you that prophecy of part of the prophecy of Isaiah of Slack of that 2 Samuel, that you know that YAHAWASHI will come through the seed of David and be born in the town of Bethlehem. YAHAWASHI fulfilled that prophecy. That prophecy was fulfilled. Alright? So now all we waiting for is YAHAWASHI to come back, and he gonna rule forever. Alright? So I pray that please stay tuned for that part 3, Barak, where we'll get into the actual seed and break it down what that word seed means, and that seed of David. Alright? And I pray that you all will edify. Until again, I say Shalawam, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, Bahasham, QADASH, Barak, Atham.